Okay, welcome back to another episode of Fight the Burnout. So, as you know, we talk to all different people from all different walks of life, anybody who wants to talk about their experience with burnout or feels like they've never hit it. But today we have a very, very, very good friend of mine, Toni, who I met at a Tony Robbins conference. It seems like most people I interview are from Tony Robbins, but we met at a business conference and we just connected like lightning and well, I don't know, lightning and something. But we connected really
Thunder
well.
and lightning.
Yeah, that's the one. I know a little bit of her backstory. She used to be a nurse, a dietitian. Now she helps people with weight loss. Is doing amazing things. I watch her testimonials and I look at them and I go, holy shit. I send people from my way to her all the time, do my best to. She is in the US, has a lot of stuff. But obviously, instead of me, as usual, telling Toni's story, I like to let her tell it herself. So, Toni, why don't you take it away? Let us know who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So thanks for having me. This is exciting. I think this is my second podcast ever. So I'm pumped. So kind of how I got to here, I'll give you the short version. Growing up, I've always been just interested in helping people, and then like health and nutrition. Those have always been really passionate areas of mine. Like activities even, I was always into sports and running and stuff growing up, and I was always interested in how nutrition would affect that, your performance and health and everything like that. So um, I was raised by pretty Catholic, straightforward people, raised kind of to just be a good person, follow the rules, that kind of thing. So when I was figuring out what career I wanted, I didn't even know that like coaching was an option, or being a, fitness coach or health coach. I didn't know that that was a thing. So my first track was to basically go into dietetics then. I wanted to just learn more about the science of food and how it relates to everything that I'm really interested in. And my original plan was to go to medical school with that. Like, food is medicine or poison. And I thought it would be a really good base to have as a medical background, since I think from what my physician friends tell me, they get like one class, not even a semester, like one class, maybe two, on nutrition. And then they're kind of the, people that tell their diabetic patients what to eat, what not to eat. They really don't know a lot about it. So I wanted to be that kind of doctor who's like holistically focused. But after 4 years of dietetic school, I was like, no mas for now, for school. So I wanted to go stay in healthcare, and thought I would go the nursing route then and kind of work my way up so that I could start working sooner and work my way through to a nurse practitioner so that I could still see patients, help patients, but have that nutritional background too. But long story short, I was in nursing for almost a full decade, and then I got burnt out on it, essentially. I was doing kind of parts of what I was really interested in. I really wanted to help people, but I found that I wasn't helping people in the way, or in like to the extent that I knew that I could. So nursing got to be just more and more stressful for me. It wasn't really like lining up with my values and priorities and interests anymore. And I kind of lucked into, or happened into, a bodybuilding contest. I have a friend that was competing, and when I was living in Costa Rica for a few months, I had posted a little picture about my own little fitness challenge. I was getting back into running at the time, and she had sent me a message about like, oh, you should do a fitness competition. You'd be great at it. And so I was like, all right, sure, why not? And didn't really know much about it, didn't think much about it, but I've always been really interested in like contests and challenges. I'm super competitive, and fitness stuff. So I started bodybuilding then at 30 years old, and I did really well. I won my pro card on my first competition, and went on to place 6 out of 14 in my first pro international show. So I was happy about that. Wow. And then I competed the following year too, and I got first and then second place both in pro shows. So I kind of, not to toot my own horn, but
yeah, you did pretty well. You did real well. That's amazing, especially in the US, where it's like the competition. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of people.
I guess I don't know. I've never really gone abroad to compete. So I think there's
a lot of people. I mean, we got what, 365 million people in America. There's a lot of people.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Here in New Zealand, we got
models.
here in New Zealand, we got 4.8 million people. I mean, so
whoa, bigger pool. Okay.
So you think about the pool size, that's actually really good. So okay, so, sorry, I just had to praise you for that, because that's amazing coming that high, for your being a novice as such.
Yeah, thank you. And I think it's just because I got obsessed with it. I like threw myself into it. I had the nutritional background with like understanding the science behind it. So that really, really helped. But I had never really like dieted before, like effectively. I've done all the fad diets and stuff, but I didn't understand like, oh, I need to actually change my whole nutritional approach. Holy crap. So that was new and I loved it. I love seeing my body change through time and just like seeing what effort I put in and the result that came out of it. I just got obsessed with it. And at the same time, I also kind of just started getting into all the personal development stuff. I had gone to the UPW Tony Robbins event, and then like the book started falling off the shelf for me. Like I just started reading more and more about, how to build healthier habits, how to change your life. And I just was like, I can't be a nurse anymore. I want to help people like create the shape that they want, the body that they want, the confidence they want through like actual science-based nutritional changes that they can live with, not like fad dieting. And I could do that with my like background in nutrition and my understanding of like the fitness competition. So I can work with people who are a little bit more, have that athletic goal versus just like a weight loss goal. So I get to build the fitness programs for them too. And when I was in doing that medical school background, I was actually studying to be a personal trainer at the time. So I never got my certification, but I have all the like anatomy, physiology books and studied up on that. And I still do that.
Yeah. Awesome. So you've obviously had your times where you felt burned out. Obviously you left nursing, and I know a little bit of that story, being at UPW, you're like, nah, I'm done. Nursing, out of here. It was that decision. You're like, nah, it's burning me out. I'm done.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing that you've identified that and you've done it. So for you, Toni, because I do like to, because I know the word burnout is a word and everybody thinks of it as a different way. Everybody has different levels, and, we have different levels of tolerance, just like we do with anything. But for some people, burnout is, just feeling a little bit down. For other people, it's like literally being laid out, what would you define burnout as for yourself?
I would say that burnout is when, like for me personally, when I just do not care anymore. Just like I'm beyond stressed even. I just like don't care about the outcome anymore. Don't care about doing whatever it is that I'm supposed to be doing. I don't care what happens to me, whatever. Just like checked out. And that is hard to recover from, I think.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say it that way. Like, for me, when I hear you say it, because for me it's pretty much the same thing. Like I know there's different, like I always hit little stages of burnout. Like there's little parts of it that you feel all the time, and normally if you're aware of it, it actually gets you to go, okay, cool. Oh, I need some time. I need to do my tricks. But also when you're at that deep level, it's almost, for me, it almost is a sense of depression. Like you just don't give a fuck about anything. You're like, just leave me alone. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to do what I love. I don't want to go have fun.
Yeah.
And it's a hard place to come back out of, isn't it?
For sure. Yeah.
So
especially when you're in it.
Yeah, especially when you're in it, because you don't actually know that you're in it. A lot of the time, people are saying, what's going on, but you're like, no, I'm fine. Everything's all good. At least that was for me. So obviously you've been there, maybe a couple times, maybe, you got that, I know there's that one time where you really, identified it, but what have you learned or what do you do to, what did you do? Sorry, tongue's not working. To overcome and or now prevent yourself from experiencing that sense of, not wanting to do anything, beyond stress, not really caring. So, what did you learn from that experience, and, what do you do now?
Oh God, there's so much to learn from anything that goes wrong in your life. They are the best learning experiences. So, I'm always like grateful to have that on the back end, of course, in retrospect when it's all done. But
So
I think the biggest,
real
what's
quick,
that?
sorry, Toni, just real quick. If we jump back to when you actually felt like you're burned out, tell us what that was, but then also what you did and how you actually identified it. Like, how did you, because I know there's going to be a lot of people listening that are maybe in that stage and don't realize it. Or maybe they are like, okay, I realize I'm not myself, but I don't know what to do to get out of it.
Yeah, okay, this is great because I actually have a recent example too, because I've been doing this work for a while now of trying to prevent this burnout, and we'll talk about that in a second, because it's hard to pull yourself out. So prevention is the best thing. But if you can't prevent it, so I recognized that I was kind of heading towards that again with the whole COVID-19 stuff, that I just was like stopping caring about myself. I recognized those old habits and old patterns that I used to go to when I was really stressed and heading towards burnout in nursing. So what I felt and experienced was that basically I started martyring myself. Like that's kind of my go-to, and I think it's very true for a lot of women and moms, and then especially women in healthcare. You're praised for taking on other people's problems, for being kind of the hero, the nurturer, for putting yourself last. And that's part of what makes nurses, or like that makes you a great nurse. If you are that person who's like, you step through the door, your life is no longer yours to like care about. You are here for your patients. Number one, that's it. So I would do that. I would just like, I'm empathic too. So I would just take on their frustrations, and I'd want to be like, let me solve this for you. Let me help you with this. Let me help you with this. And so I start martyring myself, and I do that all the time with my family and my friends too. If I get invited to something, I started saying yes all the time instead of saying no, or it was slacking on my boundaries, and basically just putting everybody else's needs above mine. And to the point where it's not that I didn't have any time for myself, it's that I didn't make any time for myself. So then I just felt that stress build up. And then at some point, you just stop caring. So
you stop saying yes, and you stop being empathetic, and you stop going, yeah, I will actually go do stuff, and actually, yeah. And yeah, like you said back, nursing, kind of same thing. Police, same exact thing. You're there sorting out other people's problems.
Yeah. So then like I would go home and I'd be stressed after it. So I'd be like, well, I'm going to drink. I would numb myself or distract myself with alcohol, especially after like particularly rough night shifts. I had my roommate at the time, her boyfriend would like get up at early morning. I'd get home at 8 a.m. and I'd be like crying, and he'd have a Bloody Mary with me. And it just was like, temporary stress relief. And those kind of things, they can get out of hand. And I just started like eating for comfort then, and drinking. And then I wasn't working out because I was so tired and exhausted. And just like these things started to snowball. And I just was like, more recently now with COVID-19, I started doing that again. I started being like, all right, now my husband owns restaurants. It's not the greatest time to be a restaurant owner. So I was like, all right, I'm going to drop pretty much all my stuff and like tell all my clients, like, text me if you need me, but otherwise, like, I'm not marketing right now. I'm not advertising right now. I'm just like helping with my husband, whatever they need. My stepson with homeschooling, like there's a lot on our plates now. And I started to do those things where I would like comfort eat, and I've been drinking a lot more, and I haven't been working out as much. And it's just like, I see this happening, and I had to take a step back and be like, hold on a second. Like, I don't want to be here again. I want to actually like my life and not just be overwhelmed by it,
Thanks for sharing that, Toni, because I know there's so many people with this COVID thing that, probably in the past they've gone through something, or maybe they were already going through stuff, and then COVID's hit, and it's like all this extra stress and things have been dropped on them. For me, I went back to a job that I vouched I'd never go back to. I went back to doing security work.
Yeah, I considered going back to nursing, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I remember asking you that, like in the beginning kind of thing, because I had started back at the hospital, and you're like, no. And hopefully by me asking, it like got your brain going, no, I don't want to go back that way. But I went back to luckily I was in a really good place when I went back. And at first I was like, oh, fuck, I have to go back. And then I was like, okay, cool. I use my tools to then go, okay, I'm not going to get burned out. I'm going to make sure I keep doing this stuff, And I remember one of the supervisors was like, oh, you need to go give that person a break. I was like, no, I'm having lunch. And he's like, no, you got to go give him a break first. I was like, no, I don't. I'm looking after me. And
Nice.
literally he got pissed. It was the supervisor of the shift, and then hit the security supervisor was actually there as well. And a little bit later, I think it was the next day, the supervisor went, because like the guy went, oh, you can't have your lunch in our the comms room, blah 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 anymore, or like went off on this. I was like, okay, fine, I'll go eat in the staff room. I don't care, whatever. I was like, I'm taking care of me. And the boss, the supervisor of all the security guys, he came to me a couple days later and he's like, Chris, you can still eat in here. He's like, and I want you to look after yourself. I was like, yeah, I know. I'm not going to not look after myself, because if I'm not 100%, I can't be 100% for the hospital. Yeah. I want to praise you for sharing, because I know there's a lot of people that are taking on all that stuff, but then, like you said, not taking care of themselves or falling into those old habits, because they are very easy to fall back into.
Yeah.
Myself, I kept my business running. Like, I've actually innovated around this time, and I've gone, okay, cool. And I've used this time to actually make it better. And I've actually had one of the best months this month that I've had literally in the last 18 months. It was, it's
amazing.
Second best month. And it's because I've gone, okay, cool. How can I use this now? And so like I use my downtime, and I'm actually more productive on my time. But I found myself literally same thing, feeling burned out. I was like, I'm getting short. I'm getting, all my symptoms were coming back. I was like, okay, I need to have a break. And so I literally went to my clients, same thing that you did. And I went to my clients and I was like, on Sunday, you won't be able to get in touch with me. I was like, I'm unavailable on Sunday. Our group call will be there, but I'm unavailable. I'm going for a motorcycle ride. I'm going to go take care of myself. I need a me day. Because I preach it and I teach it. And they're like, okay, cool. And so literally I told my wife, same thing. I was like, Sunday, I'm doing me. And she even, actually, it was awesome, because she's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, I was like, oh, maybe we'll go do this. We'll do some stuff for your thing and that. She's like, no, it's you day. I was like,
nice.
Oh, cool. And so I literally did, and it recharged me and it reset me back. So it's awesome to see that, your stuff, and again, we all have similar things. We just use them in a different way. But okay, cool. So you started to feel that. What did you do to make sure that you didn't go back to where you did when you got nursing?
Yeah. So this is, God, I just love my job too, because I'm able to have these conversations with clients, and it's like it's for me too. Like, it's reminders for me. So that helps. I think, and I remember when we first started talking, you were like, you should work with, medical people. And I was like, no, I don't want to. It's just like burned out on the whole field of it. But now that's probably 80% of my clients are nurses or doctors. And I actually love it. Yeah.
I said it. This was so for a backstory real quick. Sorry, Toni, I've got to share this. So Toni and I met in August in Las Vegas at a conference, and we kind of resonated because obviously having that first responder, and nurses I classify as first responders. Too, yeah. We started resonating. I was doing what I was doing. I was doing really well. I was successful, and Toni was kind of going, just starting, just kind of going, how can I get this process kind of moving? And so I literally brain dumped and probably overwhelmed you a bit on how I do everything. And even after when we came back, I came back to New Zealand, you went back to Bemidji, and we got on calls and we kind of did stuff, and I shared how I do what I do. And then you started doing it. And I remember talking to you, I was like, you need to niche down, because yours was obviously you wanted to just help everybody, help fitness.
Yeah. Exactly, like, I'll help anyone that wants help.
Exactly how I was in the beginning. I was like, I want to help everybody. And then I was like, okay, I niched down to just cops, just wanting to help people get into the police. And I was like, what about nurses? And you were the same thing as me when I left the police. It was like, no. Yeah. And you I resented the police. I was like, no, ain't gonna do it. No, go away. I don't want anything to do with them. It's interesting to see that. Because, and I said the same thing back in August. I was like, you'll probably resonate with them extremely well.
Yes, I know. I didn't want to, because I was just like, I was sick of it. Because at that time, I was just associating all of that together. Like healthcare equals stress and worry and overwhelm. And yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because everybody does it. You go through pain and you want to run as far away from it as possible. And this is what I found with myself. And it sounds like you had the same thing. You want to run away from it as far as possible. It's like, I want nothing to do. That's my past life, and that's where it's going to fucking stay.
Yep. And now, like, knowing what I know now, I feel like if I went back into it, I it's not what I want to do because I'm just obsessed with what I'm doing now, but I would be a lot happier doing it. I know that I would be able to get through it without like hating my life.
It's interesting you bring that up because literally at the start of COVID, I applied to go back to the place. So
Wow.
I applied to go back because I was like, it's just financial security. And I was like, okay, cool. And I got excited about it actually, because I was like, I have all these tools that I can now teach and live while I'm in
Yeah.
the police. Keep doing what I'm doing on the side, but I can live and teach the other cops. I can
Mm-hmm.
actually influence from the inside out as well. And they denied me.
Oh.
And so, but you know, it's funny because they denied me, and my wife, they called me up and they said we're not taking any for a blah blah blah. Didn't give me a real straight reason, but I called up Kristen, my wife, afterwards, and she's like, "Are you okay with it?" And I was like, "I'm actually really good with it because I've always had that door that I've leaned on. Of I could just go back if things don't happen, if things don't." And literally, if I look at my business for the first few weeks of COVID or the first
Mm-hmm.
month or so, I was leaning on that. And I was like, okay, I'll apply back to the police. I'm waiting to hear. And literally it wasn't innovating my business. And as soon as I got that denied, that door closed and I went, okay, sweet. I got one
Ooh.
direction.
Yeah.
I've
Like
only
I
got
have to
one
make this
direction.
happen.
Let's
Yep.
go. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting because, you know, I was the same way as you. You're like, okay, I could go back. You don't want to, and it doesn't sound like you're going to, but it's that thing of I could go back and I know that I would be a 10 times better cop than when I
Mm-hmm.
was there because I have all the stuff that I've learned. And but now, you know, as you've said, you can actually influence, and this is my thing as well. I can influence more from the outside in than I can from the inside out.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I love about working with healthcare workers now. Cause like there are just times when you just cannot have boundaries at work. Like you can't, if your patient's like coding, you're not going to be like, I'm eating lunch, you know, like
Oh, yeah.
you have to, when you're there, you don't own your body. Like you're working. So it's ultra important then that and I feel like it just becomes a habit, you know, like when you're there, you're working, like everything else is priority. You drop everything to help your people, and it just becomes habit. It becomes your nature, your go-to. So
Which
like then at
is
home, if somebody is like, hey, can you do this for me? You're automatically like, oh, yep, I'll drop what I'm doing to do that. And you get praised for that at work. So you carry it into home. You can see how it happens really, really easily. So like a lot of nurses now they're not used to it, or they'll apologize for it. You have no idea how many times like my clients text me all the time, sorry about this, sorry about this, sorry about this. It's like, stop apologizing all the time. Like, just take the time that you need, do what you need for you, and own it. Like and I
so.
love seeing that as they kind of start doing that, putting
Yeah.
themselves first and knowing that that's actually not a selfish thing. It's only to make them better for their patients, for their family, for themselves. Then they're like, oh wait, I don't have to be miserable. It's just awesome.
Mm. And so that brings us into the prevention side of stuff. So Toni, you know, obviously, you know, you help your nursing clients, well, all your clients with stuff, you know, and you know, with the fitness side of stuff. But what do you do now? Like, and what have you noticed? Like, obviously with the COVID stuff, you started to go back and you caught it. But what do you do like to help yourself now that you've like gone, oh, I've almost ended up back there again with the whole COVID thing? What are you
Mm-hmm.
doing, or what do you recommend to help people prevent themselves from getting to that stage of burnout? Because obviously, like you said before, prevention is the key, because once you're there, it is a lot harder to get out of than if you prevent yourself from getting there in the first place.
Yeah. So two things. I would say, like, once you start feeling that way, everybody knows that that feeling building up in your gut and stress. And when you recognize that, just take a step back and think, what am I owning right now that I don't need to be owning? Like, especially with the COVID stuff, right? It's so stressful and kind of crazy. Like, we don't even know really what the facts are, who to trust. It's just, there's a lot of information out there. So people, they get stressed about it, but can you control that? Can you control what the government is doing? What the, scientists are saying about their interpretation of the data? No, you can't. You cannot control that. So just like go through your head and be like, what is it that's stressing me out? Do I need to be owning that? Am I owning that? And do I need to be owning that? So just stop worrying about the things that you have no control over. And if there are some things that you are owning that are stressing you out, delegate, outsource that stuff. Like, don't, hire somebody to clean your house. Maybe with the COVID stuff, you can't do that, but just like take on less, essentially, is what it is. So when you start recognizing that, what problems are you owning that you don't need to own? And then how do you get rid of them? So do that and follow through. So a lot of people know that already, but they don't follow through, right?
I think this leads us into, just on the prevention side of stuff, even if you're not feeling that stuff, it's really important to do that. I say it all the time, don't care about the what ifs. Do you have control of the what if? Is it something that you can actually control over? No, you can't most of the time. What if I get COVID? Do you have it? No. Then you have no control over if you get it or not.
Yep.
It's that same thing, oh, what if it could be the same thing in the gym? What if I break my leg? Is your leg broken? No, then don't worry about it. You don't have a broken leg. Why are you worrying about if you get a broken leg? And it's like, okay, don't worry about it. And I love the thing about, delegate things out. If you don't enjoy cleaning, it's like us. We don't enjoy cleaning, so we had a cleaner before. During COVID, we couldn't do it. And actually now, financially wise, we've gone, okay, cool. We can't do it as regularly as we had before. So now instead of every week the cleaner comes, they come every other week. So we've got to clean once a week, but it still cuts that down. The other thing that you can do, like you said, and it reminded me because I think your stepson walked behind through the doorway, and I went, get your kids helping.
Oh yeah.
That whole delegation thing, because it teaches them, especially in the States right now, you got a lot of schools that are still closed. So kids are at home. Get them helping, learning real world things instead of just tech. So there's always that way. And for me, I believe, and tell me if what your thoughts on this as well, Toni, is you've got to do this stuff, not just when you feel like you're getting burned out, but you got to do it all the time.
Oh yeah.
You're in control of your mind. Nobody else is. So
that was my second point, was just like, once you recognize, what are you owning that you don't need to be owning? And then like you said, or what I said, most people do know that, they just don't follow through, like in putting things in place. So the second part to that is set yourself up with some structure. Like, we're all just basically toddlers, right? We need structures, we need rules, we flourish with that. And you can be, structure yourself loosely, or if you like to be kind of a type A rigid person, then do that. But put some boundaries in place, and then so that you have eyes on it. So you're not lying to yourself over and over again. So that's basically it. Like, my biggest thing has been, I've actually been taking on a little bit less now. And like I said, I haven't been marketing, I haven't been advertising. I'm going to start up with that again pretty soon here. Yeah. But so I've lowered my expectations on myself. Like, I've got the kid at home now. Wasn't really so much before. Homeschooling, yeah, they're helpful, but I don't know if you know about kids helping you with stuff. You have to be pretty hands-on too.
And there is that. I remember when I was a kid, for the first 100 times, my mom and dad had to literally show me how to do it. But after that 101st time, it was like, okay, cool. I was actually, because it becomes a routine. Kids, it takes longer for them to click into a routine unless they love to do it. It takes longer, as well as don't expect them to do it the way that you do it. Mm-hmm. Yes. It just goes for business as well. If you hire somebody, don't expect them to do it the way that you do it. As kids, they're not going to do it as well as you want it done, because they're kids. They're always going to find a shortcut to do it. They're not going to move that pot plant or move that thing to dust behind it. They're going to go around it. And it's like, I remember my mom, same thing. 100 times she had to tell me, Chris, move stuff off the, vacuum part of the carpet, move the stuff, vacuum under the stuff, put it back. She had to tell me about 100 times. And then finally, now, I shit you not, I think about every time I vacuum the house now. I'm like, oh, I need to move that and vacuum underneath. Okay. And, but this is, but a structure, I love that. That is such an important one as well, because if you don't have structure in your life, you're just all over the place and you don't feel like you have much meaning a lot of times.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, if you don't have structure, you don't have what is your purpose? So that helps if you feel, I think a lot of people with COVID-19, if they are, their schedule's disrupted, right? Like, I mean, people are going through it very differently. But some people are at home now and they're not working, or they're working reduced hours. And if there's no kids in the picture or anything like that, like, you've got a lot of time on your hands for maybe the first time. And if you don't do something with that constructively, you're going to start like drinking, watching TV all day, getting high, whatever. Just like you just float. And maybe it's a distraction because you're stressed or whatever, but we need structure. Like, we need it. We feel better when we have it, we thrive on it. And maybe you need to lower your expectations. Like, I have lowered my expectations for the house, and like, there's crap everywhere all the time, art projects all over. Like, it's just a little different right now. But my big things are, I've scheduled in the first 2 hours of my day, so a pretty good chunk of time, to do whatever I want. And that includes always a meditation and then journaling. And because I'm just not I want to be a better writer. I have some big plans for my business and I'm not great at it, so I need to practice, and that's how I'm doing my journaling.
Cool.
So set amount of time every day and then just do it. And so I've got plenty of time left over that if I do want to get a workout in during that time, I can, or if I want to read something, I can. So that part is pretty loose, but I have those 2 hours to do for me by myself without going on my phone for social media or looking at my calendar or doing anything else until I'm done with what I need to get done for myself. And then the rest of the day I feel great. Like, it's awesome.
You start yourself up how you want it, and you start it up, feeling good. And it is, and I tell this to all my clients, I tell this to everybody, you got to schedule me time in, because it's kind of like that analogy of putting the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on somebody else. I was having a group coaching call the other night, and we were talking about this. I was like, think about it in an actual technical way. If the oxygen's getting sucked out of the room, it's getting sucked out of the airplane, you're struggling to breathe, your focus goes, as any fitness person knows, when you're struggling to breathe and you have no oxygen, your focus starts to go. This is why special forces, they beast the crap out of you in fitness and then put you under something mentally technical to see how you react. Mm-hmm. And so if you're trying to put a mask on somebody else, yet your oxygen is getting less and less and less and less, your focus, it's going to take you longer and longer to put that on to whoever that person is. And then you're trying to put it, and think about all the time it's going to take you to recover once you get that mask on. So it's taking you, say, 20 minutes to do all of that and get it on yourself. And now it takes you another 20, 30 minutes to recover. And then you can actually focus on that. Whereas if you put it on yourself, instantly you can focus. Instantly, yep. 100%. You're going well, you're going strong, you're going fast. And then that other mask is on the other person. So within 5 minutes, it's all done.
Yeah.
And you can focus on your own time. Yeah.
And put yourself first, and it'll create more time for you in the long run. Yes.
Yeah. And you'll feel more, you won't burn out as quick, because that whole, if you think you're putting it on the other person, that's you literally lowering your tank and burning out. Mm-hmm. In my view, it's like, you're there, and then next thing is taking you longer. And then imagine if all of a sudden the oxygen, all of a sudden the mask gets ripped off of you and you got to go get another mask, because that's life. Whereas if you would put that mask on first, all of a sudden it gets ripped off you. Okay, cool. You're already in a peak state. You drop a little bit, you grab another mask. Okay, cool. I'm good to go now. Mm-hmm. But so Toni, you were a nurse, obviously, and I've asked ex-cops this as well, and I've even asked some current cops in that. You were a nurse. Obviously now you don't have, I know your husband has a team in that because he runs restaurants, but you were a nurse and you've gone through that stuff. You've come out the other side. What would you recommend for any nurses, or even maybe, charge nurses, I guess, or the supervisor? I don't know if it's the same there. But for the supervisors in that are listening, what would you recommend to them to help their team out so that their team doesn't end up getting burned out?
That's good. I think honestly, just leading by example. So, and it's on every member of the team, or it depends on where you're working. So like in a hospital setting in the US anyway, there's a charge nurse on the floor or for the department. And then in a clinic setting, there's a manager, typically, or a supervisor or something. So definitely those people, but everybody else too should be leading by example. And leading by example, the fact that just stop judging yourself, stop judging everybody else. Like, that is probably my number one tip. And once you start doing that, then you can stop projecting onto other people, or you can recognize when other people are projecting onto you. Just don't take anything personally. Don't judge yourself. don't judge everybody else. Just
Mm-hmm.
like, that is probably the best advice for preventing any kind of burnout or reducing stress. Just, I mean, think about it. Then the less judgmental you are about yourself and about everybody else, like the more you're looking on the bright side. You're not focusing on the negative. You're not picking every little thing apart. You're choosing to just kind of let those things bounce off of you so that you can put your energy and your focus on things that are more pleasing to you. So, and then it just comes naturally.
Yeah. So then you're caring more for your team, and then when you can identify when they're actually maybe getting to that state, then you can go, hey, maybe you need a day off. Go have a day off.
Yep. And then if you can lead by example and being like unapologetically, like I need this time, I'm putting myself first. I encourage all of you to put yourself first too. Like, you do what you need to do, and then support each other, because and that's maybe a thing with women too, that we're just a little competitive with each other, a little catty with each other. So and we get competitive with our martyrdom, and it's a badge of honor to be the busiest person. And I have my 6 kids, but I'm also working full time, and look at my Pinterest worthy house. Like, stop that. If that's what you got going on, great. But if somebody else is struggling, like, don't judge them, just let them be. Support each other, support yourself. Don't apologize for what you have going on. And that's, oh God, it's everything.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know, like, when I was in the police as a cop, you're like, you want to be there for the team, and you're like, if I take a day off, I'm letting the team down. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts have changed on that, because that's what I used to think.
Same.
And I don't think that way anymore.
No.
At all. Like, I've always come back from a vacation or from some time off really refreshed, and like with better ideas and like more enthusiasm to connect with people. A lot of times now that I'm kind of obsessed with what I do, like, I'll just do it anyway. Like, we'll be traveling and I'll be like, oh, I'm going to send this to my client that I see right now, or I'm going to shoot a video quick, or it's just fun now. But
and it actually lights you up when you do those things, even when you're on vacation. And it's interesting because you had mentioned around, we go into work, and I know for any first responder, especially, really anybody who's passionate about what they do, you get into work and you're like, oh my God, I've got to do, you're so busy in that. And yes, okay, cool, that's really good, you need to do that. But when you're not there, that's the time where you go, okay, me. Or even if there is a chance while you're there, you're not looking after a patient, and say it's downtime, it's not very busy, which there are times, you actually take that 5 minutes and you go, okay, cool, I'm going to have a breather. I'm going to have a breather. I'm not going to make myself busy. I'm going to have a breather so that I can come back. And when it is busy, I'm actually performing better than the other nurses who didn't take that 5 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
sitting in a chair
studies have been done on that constantly to, prove that your productivity only goes up when you give yourself strategic breaks and you take time off. And so not only are you more productive, but you're more effective too. Like, you're working smarter.
Yeah. So to jump back to that thing of, you said, you'll see this thing, and when you're on holiday, you'll see this thing and you'll post it to your clients and stuff like that. Kind of leads us into our why. As Toni, as you know, because we talk a lot, I'm a why guy. I love to know people's why, or you could call it their purpose. So what would you say is your why, that keeps you driving, it has kept you driving even now? I know you backed off a little bit, but with your husband's, restaurants and stuff, what has kept you, driving through the hard times, but also, it obviously gets you through the easy times, but mostly through the hard times? What would you say that is?
That's an easy one, and it's super selfish. So
cool.
Because I want to love my life. Like, I want to create a life that I absolutely love. Like, I don't have to work in order to live my life. Like, I want to work and make money doing something that I really actually enjoy doing. And I literally didn't think that was a possibility until a few years ago. So that's my why. Like, I freaking love it. It's so fun. I'm starting to like connect a little bit more authentically with clients. I've gotten a lot more experience now, and I had a couple years working as an RN health coach before I went into my own coaching business. So I had that as well. So my confidence is a lot higher now too. And so that's my why. Like, I want to create a job where I can really help people in the way that it's like life transforming, not just like, here, I'll help you lose 10 pounds so you can look hot on your bachelorette party. Like, no, this is real deal change, and it affects everything. And it's really cool to be a part of that. Like, I love it. It's ridiculous. And then I also get to travel, which is my passion, and just like study food and nutrition and how it plays into like fitness and performance, and just help people thrive, basically. Like, it's awesome.
You can tell you're passionate about that. I love saying that. So Toni, if there's somebody who's listening and they don't know their why or their purpose, maybe they're not, maybe they're not quite certain on it, or they're like, oh, is this it? Is it not? What advice would you give to them to figure it out?
Well, I think that you might not always like feel like rainbows and butterflies about what you're doing, because there's always going to be hard parts. And like, anytime you're learning or growing, it's uncomfortable. Like, if you're really doing it, you got to be challenging yourself, and it's uncomfortable. So I would say, like, don't feel like you're always like super secure in your why, or I don't know if I'm saying that right. You might have to cut some of this out, but like,
Don't from it.
but if you're struggling to figure out what it is, like, I think you should just peel back layers of the onion. Just keep asking yourself why over and over again. So like, why do you want to be a member of the police? I want to help people. Okay, why do you want to help people? Because helping people makes me, I don't know, whatever it is, just like keep going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and peel those layers of the onion until you have something that is just like you're ranting about it. You can go on and on and on about why you want to do that.
No, I like that. I like that. That's literally how I get people and teach people to get their why, because it is that thing. Just peel back the layers and keep working at it until it's like, oh my God. And you have emotion, and you drive, and you're like, yes, I can do this all day long. And then you just focus on it. You just constantly stay focused on it. And even in those really, like, I find myself sometimes I'll have those tough times, and I'll be like, today I do not want to post anything on Instagram. I've got nothing to say. I have no inspiration, nothing at all. But Chris, you don't want anybody else to go through the pain you did, so you need to tell somebody something, even if it's that you don't know what to say. And actually, I did that one time. I was like, I got nothing for you guys, and here it is. And literally, as I was typing it, some stuff came to me, a little bit of stuff, and it actually got more interest than a lot of the posts where I actually say something. Because it was like, I don't know what to say today, but here's a photo of me doing something. And it was like,
Well, and if you're like, it's not always about what you say, it's your intention behind it. So if your intention behind it was like, I just want to connect with my audience like on a regular basis, because I want them to think that I'm reliable. So even if I don't really know what I'm going to say, like, I'm going to say something because I told them I'm going to be here. So
exactly. So what would you say, okay, so obviously you're doing health coaching and stuff like that. What's your number one piece of advice for your audience?
For preventing burnout?
Oh, well, for preventing burnout, because, even in fitness and health, when you're doing eating and things like that, you'll know it from bodybuilding comps and stuff, you get to little levels of burnout, correct?
Oh yeah, there's always little things.
So in life, we have these little levels. What would you say would be your number one piece of advice for them? Even if it's not burnout, even just in general, what would you say for your audience, for the people that you help and coach? I'd say nurses, or health around having a healthier lifestyle. What would you say your number one piece of advice for them would be?
Oh, that's really hard to narrow down. Oh, I have so much. I think, can I say two things?
Yeah, you can say two things.
Okay, so I think the first thing is just like figuring out what your why is. So if you don't really know, you don't have that huge, strong connection with what your why is for your big goal, figure that out. Like, spend some time really nailing that down, because you're going to go through some shit on your way to reaching your goal. And then when you're done reaching that goal, like, life still goes on. So you need to have a very deep, reason of why you are doing what you're doing to get you through some of those tougher times and keep you motivated and feeling really good during the good times, but keep you driven and dedicated during the lower times, because motivation won't carry you through. So getting really connected to your why and revisiting that a lot. You might have to remind yourself a lot. And actually, that could be a good prevention strategy, so that you don't just forget. Like, do it, like, write it out and read it like a mantra every day, so that you're always remembering what your why is. you can start your day with that intention in mind, and then just things will flow to you throughout the day that kind of play into that. So that would be number one. And then I think my second biggest piece of advice would be to just start with where you're at and take messy action. Don't worry about doing things perfectly or get caught up in analysis paralysis or coming up with this giant like 3-year plan, because again, shit's gonna happen and things are gonna change. So if you can just start working on building healthy habits, like start with where you're at and think realistically, what can I do that's gonna get me closer to my goal, and something that I know that I can do today, by the end of the day, I know that I can do it. And then just repeat every single day, like what is something that I can get done that's going to get me closer to my goal that I can commit to, and just start small and build from there. Because otherwise you'll burn out quick. If you start with, all right, I'm going to change my whole life. I'm going to eat nothing but vegetables, and I'm going to stick to this, 1,200 calorie diet. I'm going to work out 5 days a week, and I'm going to read 2 chapters every single night. Like, no, you're not. Sorry. If you're already doing that, maybe, but if you're a normal human being, you're going to be like, maybe I got enough water today. That's a win.
Focus on the little things, eh?
Yeah. And just build that muscle over time. It's just like weight training. Like you got to keep the commitments to yourself, you have to build that like a muscle. Start small and keep going.
Awesome, Toni. I love those. So if somebody's looking for your services, they've resonated with you, or they're like, okay, cool, I want to, lose weight, I want to get a healthier lifestyle, how do they get in touch with you? What's the best way?
Awesome. So I have a website that I made myself, and that's quite obvious. It is www.tonileachfitness.com, and that's Toni with an I, and then Leach, Leach, fitness.com. But mostly I'm on Instagram, and that is @_Toni.Leach_ again.
Yeah, perfect. So all that will be they're just below in the description here. So you can click on that, and it'll take you through to be able to access through Toni. I'm sure, as I know, if anybody has any questions or anything like that, or even just wants to reach out to you and be like, hey, I need help with this or whatever, I'm sure that you're just like me, happy to give people advice and help and all that.
Oh, love it. Yeah. If you can't tell, I'm obsessed. You'll have a hard time keeping me on track, actually. So.
Well, this is why we love you, Toni. We get so much information from you.
I don't know when this podcast is going to air, but I'm going to start marketing and advertising soon. I'm going to do another 3-month group coaching program. I'm hoping to get it launched in July. So I'll start marketing, getting people lined up in June for that. So what that is it's a 3-month, 12-week program, and includes a progressive weight training program. So month by month, it'll get a little bit harder and progress you so that you can build muscle and burn fat efficiently. And then I teach the flexible dieting with that. So coming up with your own customized nutritional plan based on your goals, your preferences, your lifestyle, and setting it up in a sustainable way so that you're not miserable. You can still eat what you like, you can still drink, you can have chocolate, whatever.
Yeah.
And then all the stuff that goes with that. So there's a lot of mindset strategy work that we do too on building healthy habits and, celebrating your wins and focusing on the good stuff versus the small, so that, I'm not just giving you a plan to follow and then you're done, like you haven't learned anything. I'm giving you the plan to follow that's science-based and you'll get the results that you want, but also the strategy so that you can continue moving forward when we're done working together and know how to do it yourself. Like I'm teaching you to fish instead of giving you the fish.
Yeah. So you're teaching them the science, you're teaching them all of it while they're going through it. So they actually know why they're actually doing what they're doing. So they're not just at the end of it. It's not just a 3-month challenge. It's a 3-month learning experience.
Yeah.
Results. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, cool. I like it. So I know that, this is being recorded the end of May, but at the same time, I know you constantly are running these new things. So if at any time you listen to this, reach out to Toni and just, ask her, be like, hey, Toni, when's your next course that you're running? so that,
Yep.
because at the same time, Toni runs it all the time. I know she does. I know she's ran a few of them, gotten amazing results for her clients. And I shit you not, I literally send my clients to her when they ask for food stuff. I go, I'm not the food guy. Go talk to Toni. She's the food woman.
I'm the food guy.
Yeah, she's the food guy, or food woman. So, okay. So Toni, I like to ask this last question. Just, you've kind of answered a little bit throughout the whole thing, but I like to, so people, when they get to the end of this, they can be like, okay, yeah, these are the keys. So what would be your, again, one thing, that you would tell viewers to prevent or counter burnout?
So just to highlight it, ask yourself, what are you taking on that you don't need to be taking on? Stop focusing on, don't make all the world's problems your own. Right?
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
I like it. I love it. It's so important. Yeah. Don't make everybody's problems yours. Just deal with your own problems, because we all know we all have enough of them to deal with anyways. We don't need everyone else's. Awesome, Toni. Well, thanks again for being on this episode. It's been very enlightening, and there's been a lot of really good stuff, and I know a lot of people will get a lot out of this. For everybody listening, reach out to Toni if you resonate with it. I know if you've been listening, a lot of stuff sounds very similar, or maybe you're like, nah, and all these people before, I haven't learned anything from them, but today, oh my God, with Toni, it's been like, oh my God, blow my mind. Reach out to her, pick her brain, ask her questions. I know the reason I have connected with Toni so well is because she cares. She literally does care about people. And so that is literally, to a detriment sometimes, but it's also an amazing thing, and why, we're here. So, again, if you haven't liked or subscribed, make sure you hit those buttons down below. Make sure you leave us a comment. Let us know what you liked about it, what you didn't, what you're liking about all the episodes, what you aren't liking, and also let us know if there's anybody that you want us to, reach out to, have an interview with, because I'd love to know who you guys want to talk to. But till the next time, also remember that this goes live, new episode every Friday, New Zealand time, 6 a.m. We launch a new episode. And yeah, we shall talk to you guys all very soon. And thank you again for listening. And we love you all.